Good morning, everyone. I am Sandra Batalier, a BT Lead HE2 student. So, today we will be discussing about the introduction to domestic refrigeration and air conditioning servicing part 2. So, to discuss further about this, we have here the basic electrical symbols and abbreviation used in refrigeration and air conditioning system. So, a refrigeration contains of condenser, the compressor, the evaporation, and the expansion valve. So, the coming or the advent of technological advancement influences the complexity of the application of the appliances rather today, which is true because we are surrounded by technologies, and technologies plays a vital role in today's daily living. So this advancement includes, um, especially in refrigeration and air conditioning, it includes the system, particularly in its electrical control system. Um, in view of this, the refrigeration and air conditioning students, as well as technicians, must be well versed or knowledgeable enough in reading or interpreting an electrical diagram. And in our previous discussion, we already encountered about this electrical diagram, and those are line diagram, the wiring diagram, schematic diagram, and many more. So um, why electrical diagram? Because it contains important information about the electrical installation and operation of the appliances. Also, the refrigeration and air conditioning installer rather depends on the wiring diagram. So, um, for the correct installation of the electric wiring diagram to the unit, while the technician uses the schematic diagram. Why schematic diagram? Because a schematic diagram also represent the pictorial components and shows graphic symbols, the electrical connection, and the function in each part. The students and as well as the technician in refrigeration and air conditioning must be well versed in reading and interpreting an electrical diagram. Why? Because it contains important information about the electrical installation and operation of the appliances. Also, the refrigerator and air conditioner installer depends on the wiring diagram of the correct installation of the electrical wiring to the unit, while the technician uses the schematic diagrams as a roadmap. So, we all know that the schematic diagram shows graphic symbols, the electrical connections, and the function in each part. But here in refrigeration and air conditioning, the technician use this schematic diagram as a roadmap or guide in troubleshooting the electrical system of the unit. So the diagram are composed of symbols, the lines, abbreviation, illustrated, showing the point-to-point connection of the components in relation to the power supply source. So why is it the symbols are used? Symbols are used because it would be impractical to use the photographs or the actual illustration of the components due to its size, then the complexity of connection. So most manufacturers used similar symbols for each type of component, although there are some minor differences in symbols. It takes a good technician to decipher or to understand the symbols used in the diagram and the relationship to the different parts of the circuit. Hence, knowledge of the basic symbols is essential. Why? In order for the refrigeration or air conditioning technician to be successful, so they must acquire knowledge of the basic symbols that is essential for them to be successful. So now we have here the basic electrical symbols that is used in refrigeration and air conditioning. We have here the electrical components of a refrigerator or air conditioner can be classified into two. We have the load and the switches, which is the load consumes power or the electricity, while the switches control or open and close the flow of current in the electrical circuit. So what is being included in the loads? Include the motor compressor, fan motors, light, heaters, and other accessory components. Well, there are various types of switches, and of course it depends on its purpose of the electrical system. To properly identify these components, the symbols are used. So the refrigeration and air conditioning students and technicians must be familiarized with them. And the number one types of switches is the manually operated switches, which is it operates by literally pushing by hands. Single pole double through switch, the double pole single through switch, and double pole double through switch. So we also have here the symbols, the normally closed push button switch, and the symbol for normally open push button switch. Manually operated switches are controlled by hand, so as what I have said earlier, then push button switches are the most common form of manual control in industry. Normally open push button makes a circuit when it pressed and returns to its open position when the bottom is released. The second switches or the types of switches is the mechanically operated switches. So it operates by construction of a diaphragm responding to a change in temperature called the thermostat, or change in pressure called pressure switch. So here in the pictures we have here the heating thermostat opens on, temperature will rise. Then the cooling thermostat close on, then temperature will rise. So the open on rise in temperature, then close on rise in pressure. Then the mechanically operated switches limit switches operation is, so we have here the symbols, we have here the red one, which is the no contact, and the blue one has this contact. So they are often used in the control of machine process to govern the starting, stopping, or several or reversal of motors. Mechanically operated switches limit switch operation. Limit switches takes the place of a human operator. So we have here the symbol, the red one which is the no contact, the blue one which has the contact. So they are often used in the control of machine processes to govern the starting, stopping, or reversal of motors. And so we have here the number 3, the types of switches, which is the electrically or the electronically operated switches. So it operate or respond when electrically or electronically energized. Say for example, we have here the relays, the contractors, and the solenoid. So electrical or electrically operated switches do not require any physical contact in order to control a circuit. This contactor or release is composed of a solenoid and contacts. The contact will open or close depending on their original position. So the example of this is the switches that has the on and the off button. So I have here the example of the electrical switches. So you can see there is the on and the off button. I know that you are familiar with this electrical switch because you often see this in your house. The one that you press when you want to turn on the light or to turn off the light.